Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's On at Disney Plus with our weekly live Q&A. So big hello and welcome to everyone. See quite a few people already here in the live chat, including Matt. We've got Keenan, the one and only Tinkerbell, Barbara Trolling, and Knoxwave. A big hello to all of you, and again, welcome to this week's show. So in advance, our Patreon and our YouTube channel members have been able to submit questions. We've got quite a lot of different questions today. So aim is to kind of go through all of them, but also I will be jumping in and out with questions from our live chat, which YouTube channel members can join in on. You can also send in super chat functions as well. That all helps support the channel, and it really is a huge support. And just becoming a member or anything like that, or if you fancy gifting memberships, anything like this, all just helps. And yeah, that would be just fantastic to anyone that does so. And a big hello and thank you to everyone here in the live chat. So we've got quite a few people here. Big thank you for Jonathan for being a member for 18 months. Thank you so much for your support. You love Moana. Is there going to be a Moana 2? Yes, Moana 2 is going to be coming out in cinemas this coming Thanksgiving. So you ain't going to wait too long either. Right. Let's jump into the questions. So let's start off with the one. I tend to like to start off with the ones at the top. So Baba asked, do you think Disney could add a music library and podcast library onto Disney Plus to give people more variety? Oh, sorry. All the times I couldn't do it before. So I think it makes a lot of it makes a lot of sense really in some ways for I think Disney to utilize this. First off, like they've launched like the Marvel podcast recently. I mean, on one hand, you can make a podcast with no video very, very cheaply. And I suspect as well, if they were to make a video version of it, they would then have to have a set, and then they've got to have a camera crew, and then they're going to have editors, and everything's going to be fine and dandy and all the rest. And it's going to cost them a lot of money to do it. So that's why they might not do it. I mean, they put them out on YouTube as videos, and some of them do a lot. Like, maybe there's some issues with music stuff as well, like with licensing and like how much money they pay. It's kind of funny because way back when Disney Life used to exist here in the UK, it was a streaming service before Disney Plus launched. And one of the key things I loved about it was that you had all of the Disney albums all in there, so you could listen to it and you could download it onto your app. And you'd get the Marvel and the Star Wars stuff, and I like listening to soundtracks. So for me, it was a great way of going in there and listening to it. So I think it would be good. I'll put TV on. Usually, I just go onto YouTube and then just go into music and just go for a playlist or something like that in there. And music videos come up, or it's just the lyric videos or something like that, and it's usually just on in the background while I'm working. So I think it would be a good idea. I think the trouble with the podcast is, for me, I am always very, very wary of official podcasts because it's an official product. It is very official, therefore it's all very glossy. They only tend to talk about the positives. It's more of a PR outlet rather than people talking candidly. When Kevin Feige appears on the Marvel podcast, everything is timed. And if he doesn't like something he says, or he says something too much, they will edit it out because they'll have control over it. So that's, if you're doing it live, that's very tricky and stuff. So I would like them to do it. I think they should at least, if you're going to put out, maybe it might be more tricky with how they do it, but maybe do a whole video, just just one album, just going right the way through, and have different. I don't know if you have track, if you could break it down, but it would make sense to me to look at why they do it. Kayla says, what do you expect from San Diego Comic-Con next week? What would you expect to be safe for D23? So next week, there is going to be a Doctor Who panel. I'm not expecting anything too major to come out of that one. Maybe, I don't even think we'll get a tease. They might get to see a teaser of the Christmas special or a little preview of next year's, but I don't think us, the general public, will get to see it because we don't really want to see a Christmas special in July. Might not work. So that's definitely one thing. As far from Marvel, I think we're going to get confirmation of the Avengers Secret Wars directors of the Russo brothers. I think that will be revealed. I think now we're going to get Nova will be confirmed as a Disney Plus series because they've talked about it. I think just that little slideshow that we get where it tells you all the different release dates and stuff, or kind of like some of the. I think we're going to get an updated version of that for the next few years. Yeah, I think, and then they're going to get to see, new clips from Captain America, Thunderbolts, probably Agatha, Ironheart, Daredevil. So all the people in the Hall H will get to see a lot of previews and stuff. Wonder Man, I suspect, will be officially announced. I don't know if we'll get. They might give us a teaser trailer or a first look at it. But it's very tricky. Because if they're getting at Agatha, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we get a new trailer for Agatha during that there as well for us all to see, or a new clip. But if you've got, Agatha coming up in September, next year we're going to probably have Daredevil Born Again in March. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Ironheart or Wonder Man follow later in the year. I don't think they're going to do 3 series next year. I think Wonder Man could be early 2026. Oh no, 2020, 2026 with maybe another Daredevil, and then Nova maybe for 2027. That's about it. I think with this only having, the days when we were getting like 5-6 series a year for Marvel, it was very easy to go, all right, we need 15 shows to kind of do over the next 3 to 4 years. But if you're only releasing 2 a year, suddenly you only need 6 to be announced, and you've got 3 years covered. And I don't think they want to go too much beyond that one. With regards to what they might say for D23, maybe Wonder Man. Maybe Wonder Man might be the one that they hold off, but they give us the first teaser trailer at Wonder Man. That might be it. So there we go. Mamad says, when will we getting the Hulu and Disney Plus lists for August, since we only have one week left until the end of July? Right. So if you're not aware, so generally Disney will send out the list of what's coming out the next month a few weeks before the beginning of the new month. Now, generally, the rule of thumb used to be around about the 15th of the month. It could be a day or two after that, and you could kind of pretty much take that as a general plan of what they would do. And it worked like that for years. And then last year, things started getting a little bit iffy. Things started getting a little bit later because there was less coming out. And then as we went into 2024, that concept is completely gone. We have had them, the latest, I was just going through and just having a look now. The latest we've had them before is the 22nd. That was back in February, so that would be tomorrow for if they did the same there. We have had them in the 20s more often now in 2024. So it's not uncommon now for them to come the week later. So I don't really view this as really being late yet, because the days of the 15th are long gone. That was last year. We haven't really seen that this year. A lot of other studios and streaming services don't put out their lists until much closer to the month. Disney could change their plans for what they're doing. They don't have to provide that list. And generally don't go by that 15th date as there was a time, and I'll be honest, when I used to plan my evenings for that week. If of the week of the 15th, I wouldn't schedule anything in for a few nights around the 15th, 16th, 17th. I'd just be like, no, I know it's going to drop them. Now, it's very difficult. And sometimes as well, and this is the big thing, the lists that come out for Disney Plus each month in the US are so small that often there's only a couple of things on there that we didn't necessarily know about, most of which we know about in advance. So I think sometimes I'm like, well, literally, we know most of this. It wasn't really the interesting thing. Then usually what happens is when that one drops over the next few days, we'll then get the UK list, the Canada list, and obviously I'm updating the website and all the rest of it. Australia's list tends to come much closer to the beginning of the month, sometimes even into the month itself. But again, not every streaming services provides it weeks in advance. And I think Disney are probably going to slide more later and later. Then we've got the situation with August. Because right now, we have got nothing actually in terms of an original coming out in August. That we know of a few of the Disney Channel and Disney Junior shows coming in the US. We know Hulu is getting Solar Opposites. It's also getting new episodes of Futurama. And we also know it's getting Only Murders in the Building. But July or August for Disney Plus right now, there is nothing that we've got, and there's been no trailers. I think there is a movie that someone did mention that could possibly maybe be on the list, was Out of My Mind, which is a new movie. I think I did see an image of the poster, but I wasn't sure if it was real or not. That could be something that they hold on to. And I actually want to bring in just a quick note here of Film Watcher says, do you have a rough idea of when Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is going to be on Disney Plus? I think that is going to be the big video or the big edition for August, and they're having to wait a few weeks more to try and get some more digital sales, because the only thing I think that could fill the void to make August decent is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. If they released that at the end of maybe the third week or fourth week of August, that might be why they are holding off. I think next month's list looks very, very, very light, unless there's going to be a flood of new stuff. But also, we've just not been hearing about new shows the same way. Also, generally, like, new shows don't tend to start in August very often. They want to kind of get the summer out of the way. But yeah, August's lineup is looking really, really thin. They've been announcing stuff for September. We've got the Lego special, we've got Agatha, we've got other things coming in. And as Phil says, August 27th for the Blu-ray for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I wouldn't be surprised if that week we get it on Disney Plus, but they might be holding off. They could even wait off another week and get into almost the beginning of August before they make that announcement, if they've got nothing really to go. And yeah, as Keen says, they are probably very focused on D23. The thing is, D23 in regards to the release dates for stuff coming out in August is too late. That's not really going to probably have an impact on August's lists. But yeah, August at the minute is looking very, very bare bones. Elliot says, will the previous seasons of Genius come to Disney Plus in the US? So a lot of the seasons have actually been removed from Disney Plus in other countries as well. I don't know if it's some kind of licensing issue with them being National Geographic. Matt says, do you think they'll add a 20th Century Searchlight hub on Disney Plus? Not while all this stuff with Hulu's going on. I think they'll want to get that Hulu hub in there, get people used to it, and maybe then in the future, that's when they open it up and stuff. All right, let's jump into the live chat. Let's see what we have got going on here. Knoxway thinks it's a great idea to add podcasts and music videos, and really enjoying listening to the official podcast. Keenan says, speaking of memberships, how would I upgrade? So when you're in YouTube, I believe, and then you basically, I think you can just go on to on this video itself as well. You'll be able to click on the little thing below and on like join, and you should be able to adjust it in there, or it will be in your settings. But again, thank you so much for that support. That'd be fantastic if you could. Kayla says, to answer the question of the headline, I will say yes, but with some conditions. It has to be like a sing-along or podcast have visuals. Otherwise, shouldn't be. I don't think it's necessarily about being exclusive. I think it just makes sense to utilize that content a little bit more. Bubba Trolling says, what do you expect from the third quarter call? So this one is happening 2 days before D23. So I'm not expecting a lot. I think we are due to see streaming numbers down a little bit. I don't think they're going to be adding a lot. They aren't going to be profitable. They have warned us in advance. I think there's going to be a lot of hype for D23, a lot of just buzzword. I mean, whether or not venue sports is the big thing that they announce. The sports stuff with like ESPN Hub feels it's too early. You've still got, what's that, September, October, November might be more time of when they might want to kind of kick things off there. They might mention it. They might mention stuff about password sharing and stuff, but generally, not expecting anything major, because again, the thing is with the quarterlies, they're more about the business side than like entertainment. Sometimes they do put a little one in to try and get the buzz going, but I think a lot of it might be more for D23. They might put out something major just to kind of see if they can pump the stock a little bit that day. We did that one from Film Watcher. Noxo says, has Marvel haven't learned its lesson for spoiling every character in the Deadpool Wolverine in every short trailer includes I've been avoided. Yeah, I did avoid watching the trailer, but I did end up seeing that one because it was all over the internet, and I was like, well, I already know what the spoiler is. I might as well watch it. Yeah, I'm not so keen that they did that. I don't see the reason why they did that. I don't think it was needed. But literally now, Thursday morning, got my ticket. I'll be heading to see it on Thursday morning. Film Watcher can't wait for the return of Only Murders in the Building. I think it's great. I think that's great. As Keenan says, probably focus on D23, and also can confirm that they only have Genius MLKX. I don't think we've even got that one yet. Okay, let's continue on with the questions. Right. Tim says, when do you think Star Wars Skeleton Crew will premiere on Disney Plus? My guess would be November or December. We've got Agatha going right through till Halloween, so maybe drop them over like the build up to Thanksgiving could be a way of building it up. Either that or they wait until like December and kind of kick it off then. But I mean, I'm going to be honest, and I have said this to a few other people, that I wouldn't be surprised following the failure of The Acolyte if Skeleton Crew gets bumped to next summer and Andor gets bumped to the following summer, and we have a real like knock them all back. So we have to go so long till we get them. So we have to go another year till Star Wars. Especially if they're worried that if Skeleton Crew isn't going to I don't want it to be true, but it would make sense, you know. Ahsoka season 2 seems to be a way off being recorded. If they wanted to spread it out a little bit, and after the backlash of Acolyte, might want to give Star Wars a little bit of run to move there. Maybe push Skeleton Crew back. I mean, they might not. They might just carry on with their plans regardless. But yeah, I think we're going to go down to one show from Star Wars a year anyway. So don't know. Let's do a little poll on that actually. So I asked you earlier, what should Disney Plus add music? 77% of you said yes. Not a huge surprise because I think it makes sense. But let's have a little bit of a poll. Let's see if you guys agree with me. When do you think Skeleton Crew will be released? So I'm going to put November, and we'll put December. Whoa! I just pressed the wrong button. Hey, well, I'm gonna stop that one because I pressed the wrong button. That was good. I've never done that before. Right, let's try that one again. All right, when do you think Skeleton Crew will be released? November, December. I didn't see it. Film Lockwave. Early 2025. Late 2025. It's definitely not going to be before until Agatha anyway, so we know that. Right, so there we go. So we got that one in. Right. Elliot says, what makes a show like Simpsons and Grey's Anatomy so popular? If I knew, I'd be, and if anybody else knew, they would love to have that. They'd love to know that. And also, why does Disney struggle with creating shows that become popular? So let's be honest. Creating a TV series that's very, very, very popular and can run for 20 plus seasons is not easy. How many have done it? You just have to look around. How many shows have made it to 20 seasons? Not a lot. You don't get that many get there. And there's a reason, because to go that long, you have to be continuously good. You have to be continuously evolving. You have to be getting in audiences all the time. And it's hard. And if it was that easy, they'd all be doing it. We've got a few coming, probably quite a few now coming up to 20. But, these shows are difficult to do that. There are some other issues. I do think we're in a bit of a weird thing of actors generally now. A lot of, we've seen a lot of big Hollywood stars have gone into television and started making TV shows because that's where a lot of the industry's shifted to. A lot of the big actors as well, like the smaller limited series. It's much easier to say, like, I'll sign up for this to do this for 3-4 months. Because if you're doing something like Grey's Anatomy, you're probably doing it for 9 to 10 months of the year. It really then cuts into what else you can do, and that can be difficult. So that's always been why, like Hollywood stars didn't really, like doing TV stuff because of that. So there's that thing. I know a lot of people like talking about, they want longer seasons again. The trouble is they can't do longer seasons and do a continuous storyline. You can't take one murder mystery and turning it into a 20 episode season. It's too long a story. It would be dull and boring. That's why these like single story, 1 episode, maybe 2 episodes, and monster of the week, murder of the week kind of stories, they can just keep rolling and rolling. But the audiences kind of got a little bit like, didn't like them. People liked having these limited series, but I think people are now realizing, there are benefits of having monster of the week stories, and I think we are going to probably see a return to a little bit of that. I think they realize that there is still a market for this stuff. All these limited series are great, but there are downsides to them. And I think it's a thing of like, why is it difficult? Because I think now trying to create something that catches your attention is much harder. There's so much competition. You've got video games, you've got mobile phones, you've got social media, you've got other shows, YouTube, podcasts, all this stuff going on. And, all of this means that it's eyeballs. Your eyeballs are being diverted. And this is what they're all fighting for. They're all trying to get your attention. And it's much harder than it used to be. And to justify the costs, you've also seen a massive shift with like Netflix and other streaming services have been like, after a certain amount of seasons, the costs just keep going up and up and up in cost. It keeps getting more and more expensive, but also they're not bringing in new subscribers anymore. People that are tuning in for Cobra Kai season 6, that's not probably going to boost up subscriber numbers so much. They're lucky they got that late because, Netflix are notorious for finishing seasons off. There's also the other element of, I don't think some of the shows are being given long enough. They're being cancelled too quickly. They're being thrown to the wolves and thrown to the basically thrown in the tip too quick. When you've got a comedy and you've only put out 10 episodes, with comedy, it can sometimes take a couple of seasons for us to warm to the characters and get used to them. Also, when the seasons were 20-25 each, that's essentially, if they do 2 of those seasons, that's 50 episodes. That's like 5 seasons for a new show, and you're just not seeing it. And I don't think it's so much about them struggling creating shows that are popular, because Disney are creating shows that are popular. The Bear, Only Murders in the Building, only have to look at some of the stuff that's been like nominated for Emmys this week. They can create amazing shows. Shogun, they can create stuff. It's just hard to create stuff that'll keep rolling. Right. Yep, South Park, The Simpsons, Family Guy, SpongeBob's are a few that have made it to 20 years. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be difficult to do. Let's see here. So Keenan asked, do you think the no bridge that hacked Disney gave out spoilers for fans? So there's obviously, this was earlier last weekend, there was reports of a hack and this was of Slack. So basically they managed to get in and downloaded a load of data from Slack, and they put it up. And it kind of got out there that, that there was a whole load of stuff in here and it was full of files and stuff. Well, here we are 1 week later. Have you heard anything? Any big stuff come out? I haven't, and I've been trying to look for it. All I can, if there was something juicy in there, I would have thought something would have come out by now. I do know someone that has downloaded it. I'm not going to mention who they are because of, reasons. Not me, because I wasn't touching that thing with a 50-foot pole. It's had viruses on it, unsurprisingly. A load of information in that is coding and stuff. This could be a Trojan. They've literally just had a load of people download it, infect their computers, and it could be a bluff. I mean, let's be honest, you can't trust hackers. You know, it could be a smoking gun. It could be a smoking gun. Keenan says they are probably nice. Well, I mean, I'm going to put myself in that category anyway, but you know, yeah, I think if you're a hacker, you're kind of in that zone. There could be some stuff in there, but it's going to take some time for things. And at the end of the day, it's slack. This is not you know, you're not going to get Deadpool versus Wolverine in 4K, or you know, the entire Skeleton Crew series, or the entire Hilary Duff, you know, Lizzie McGuire reboot. They're not all going to be sat there in these folders just waiting. Nah. And especially at 1 terabyte, it's just not enough data there. It'll be interesting if anything does come out of it, but the fact that we're over a week later and haven't heard anything does seem a bit weird to me. Danny says, why is Young Woman in the Sea labeled as a Disney Plus original if it aired in theatrical first? Well, ultimately, this film was developed for Disney Plus, and in some countries, it is actually only available on Disney Plus. It didn't get released everywhere in cinemas. It was a short, limited run, and actually a lot of movies recently have been getting small little runs. Some of the Searchlight picture movies, they had like a week or 2 run. I think the concept of a Disney Plus original doesn't mean to say it's a Disney Plus exclusive. That's the key thing there. Original does not mean exclusive. You know, they can move it around a little bit. It says, what is your final prediction of how much Deadpool and Wolverine is going to do on the opening weekend? I think it's going to be a big one. I think if it hits 200 million, it's going to be huge. I mean, there's been reports that it might be bigger. I think it's all over the place, but yeah, I think 200 million. Let me know in the comments, you know, what you guys think. Tim says, will the 5th season of Solar Opposites be released at the same time around the world on Disney Plus next month? So we've had no official confirmation. No, and that's for like Australia or anything like that. Yeah, I'm doubtful. They have done in the past where we got it a little bit later. Babak says, will there be any streaming related attractions at D23? I remember they did a Hulu thing years back. I think there is like pavilions for like Hulu and Disney Plus. There is a stage for them both, but it looks like the Disney Plus stage is just bluey. There is some stuff going on the Hulu stage. Yeah, they're going to have interactions and activations and stuff for those in attendance and stuff. So yeah, that'll be quite normal. Aaliyah, there is also code with the press. I saw a statement from one saying they wouldn't publish anything, even if it was approached by the hackers, because this is theft. Definitely not viewed as a valid source. Yeah, I mean, that is the thing. There's a lot as well. I think there's a lot of people that will download it and just put stuff out on YouTube or Twitter, etc., just to get clout, just to get clicks. There's also a lot of what is it? It's just a lot of it will just be engagement bait, and a lot of it will probably be fake. People haven't even looked and are just making stuff up just to get more clicks and stuff. Here we go. Elliot says, when will Disney Plus be considered one of the 4 streaming services? Well, it already is. It's the 3rd biggest streaming service after sort of Netflix and after Amazon. But I don't trust Amazon Video. Like, they got like 200 plus million. I don't know. I think there's a lot of people that got Amazon Video that don't realize they got Amazon Video, and I don't think it's a fair thing of like comparing them. So Disney Plus is in 3rd place, I think, over 150 million. If you include then Hulu, they're over 200 million. So technically, if you merge the two together, they are bigger than Amazon. But I definitely would say Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon are the top 3. And then I don't know what you put as the next one, because I think it's going to depend on where you are, because like over here in the UK, we don't have Max and we don't have Peacock. So those are gone. Paramount Plus is probably maybe the next big one. Tim says, when we're out of my mind, Disney Plus original movie be released on Disney Plus, as it was supposed to get released last year. I wouldn't be surprised if it was August, actually. I think this could be a surprise release. And also, again, with streaming movies, they don't need to do a big publicity campaign. They can do 2 weeks, 1 week or 2 weeks notice and put a trailer out and a poster out. That's all they're doing. And have a premiere. Bing, bada, boom, gone. They ain't spending money on putting both posters on billboards and, you know, putting things on taxis and buses and, you know, putting great big dragons on top of, you know, the Empire State's Building. You know, it's going to be bish bash bosh. It's gone. Bubbuck says, why weren't the Russo brothers not first in line to direct Avengers 5 and 6? They had mentioned previously they wanted to do it. Secret Wars, and they have a good track record. I think Marvel was going in a different direction. I don't know if they maybe they want some Endgame and stuff. They wanted a bit more money, and Marvel was like, nah, we want to go in a different direction. We want to do something different. I have to wonder, had Marvel carried on with its plans that it set out back at like 2022, like 2-3 years ago, when we by now were already kind of way past kind of phase 5 going into phase 6. If we were getting like 5 TV shows and 4 movies a year, could you imagine what that would have been like had 2022 and 2023 and 2024 gone as they originally planned? Because all the stuff that's coming out in the next 2 years would already be out. And we'd be getting ready for I think the first Avengers Kang Dynasty would be due out in like a year's time. Because everything got put back, I think the whole plans have changed. And I think they're going to try and wrap this multiverse thing up, reboot the characters a little bit, bring in the X-Men, reboot like Iron Man and bring them all back, reset the timeline, and make things simple again. I think this multiverse thing was a bad mistake. I think it was silly for them to do it. I think they overestimated how general audiences would take it. They introduced too many characters. And yeah, I think the Avengers stuff, they need to get them all back in line again. And as Keenan says, they probably wanted to have a new Avengers team. They did. I think they did want a new Avengers team. I think we were going to see, I don't know, She-Hulk and I don't know who else. She-Hulk, Hawkeye, Young Avenger, Miss Marvel, and the Marvels. I think they were going to have this whole new team. And the audience has gone, nah, that's not the guys, we don't want them. We want, the big stars. And I think they're backtracking. Mama says, how do you think Deadpool and Wolverine will affect the MCU going forward, since it mentioned that the events in the movie have consequences? So I think this is going to be more of the multiverse, and I think both Wolverine and Deadpool will probably turn up in the new Avengers movies. And I think, by the sounds of it, there was an article, I haven't read it yet because it's been the weekend, but I think the next saga after the multiverse saga is X-Men. So I think this is about like closing this off and like rebooting it. Keenan says, do you think Disney will talk about the new Disney Plus features at D23 Expo? Nope. D23 Expo is not going to be about anything business related, anything like that. This is just shock and awe. Like, look at these amazing things we've got. They're not going to be interested in telling us about, are they adding a new algorithm, or you're more likely going to get that in a quarterly results. But on the front, if you're in front of 20,000 people at the Honda Center, go, hi everybody, we're going to announce we've updated the algorithm. That's going to be like, it's not probably going to go down very well. It's just, so yeah, I wouldn't expect them to kind of do that. Leon says, Doctor Who is set to have multiple series and spin-offs. Are Disney Plus up to benefit from that? I don't know. I've talked about this a bit already this past week in one of the videos. I think Disney are going to jump out at the next exit when they can. I don't think the series is doing very well. I think it's a cheap show for them, but I think they'll jump out. I don't think they'll keep investing in it. It's not pulling in the views. It's just bringing them negative publicity. Everything wrong with Doctor Who gets blamed on Disney, and they'll just be like, carry on, adios. Matt says, what are you looking forward to San Diego Comic-Con? Well, I'm not going, obviously, but it's mainly the Marvel presentation. That's the pretty much, maybe there might be something there that gets announced. Maybe some teasers and stuff. 20th Century Studios, like Free Guy and Family Guy and stuff, they're going to be there. Doctor Who. There's going to be some stuff coming out. But it's the Marvel show. I need to check what time it's on, because I'm either going to be getting up early to cover it or go to bed late. Either way, it's the middle of the night for me when it goes on. They couldn't do it at 9 o'clock in the morning. On San Diego time. That would be perfect. Bubba says, in the news this week, there's talk of Warner Brothers Discovery going to split and sell the assets. Do you believe that report and how it's going to work? Bubba, did you check out one of this week's daily videos? I did actually answer this question in a lot of detail, but I will just say now, I think a lot of this is about not necessarily. I think it's a bit of a con and an accountancy job to lay all the debt onto the linear cable, keep streaming and the movie studios going forward with profitability. That stock price goes up, the other one goes down. They close it off, sell it all off, and just write the entire thing off as bad business. It's an accountancy shuffle around. It's probably not going to impact us as viewers. It's just accountancy to make them more money in the long run. Last of the pre-done questions, and then we'll be live for the rest of the show. So if you've got any more questions live or super chats or anything like that, feel free to send them in. Keenan says, within the next couple of months, Max and Peacock are going to be the biggest streaming services in viewership due to presidential election and the Olympics. Okay. I disagree on that on a couple of folks. First off, again, in the US, they may be. Here in the UK, that ain't going to happen. Neither of them exist. Both of them are actually part of like Sky. But anyway, the Olympics, right. How many of you, and let's actually, we'll do a poll on this. So I'm just going to end that poll about Skeleton Crew. So I think most of you think it's going to be this year, 39% November, 23% December, 29% of you think so, probably a bit more in line with that. So let's do a poll. Do you watch the Olympics? A lot, a little, nothing, and only when we win a medal. Actually, on the news. Because, so here is my thing. All right. First off, I'm not a big sports person. And I view the Olympics as the sports day of the year, when you have the whole world comes together for 4 weeks, or for a few weeks, every 4 years, to have a sports day. And a load of us watch it, and there's a load of us, and I think a load of people just go along with the fuzz. As soon as we start winning a little bit, people will start watching it. You know, they'll start like, you know, if we're about to win a gold medal, they'll show it. But I think that's it, really. It's like if everyone was interested in javelin and, you know, not hot spots, you know, the high jump, wouldn't it be on every, you know, a lot? Wouldn't it be on every week? Wouldn't it be something that people follow more regularly and watch? It would be valuable as a sport. If it was that good, why is it only on every 4 years? You know, I think that's the thing for me. And I think I don't get why they spend so much on the Olympics in terms of it. You know, we had the Olympics here in the UK, 12 years ago. A lot of hype. Since then, nothing. You know, it's I don't know. It's for me. We only on the news. You only ever hear about it when we're about to win, or when they're kind of going for it. And I just think it's a big, just meh. Especially in the middle of the summer here in the BBC, they put the Olympics all over the main news because essentially there's nothing else on. They're going to clear the schedules for 2-3 weeks, so the only thing you can watch on there is people running around the track. I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah, so as you can tell, I'm not a huge fan. I think it's in Paris this year. I don't know. I don't really see it. And also, a big problem as well for the viewership in the US, time zones. Time zones are going to have an issue on it. So, like, there won't be anything in prime time because obviously evening France, but evening in the France would still only be the afternoon in the US. So that's going to be a problem. And it's the middle of the summer. They'll probably want to get a lot of stuff done in the morning and in the evenings because of the heat and stuff. A bit like when, I think like for us, like when it was in Japan, we didn't get the right time. But yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think again, like Keenan's just said there, it's in Los Angeles in 2028. I mean, yeah, when you're the host country, there will be an additional buzz and a bit additional excitement about it. But I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I could sit here now. I couldn't tell you probably one or two people that are even competing for the UK in it. I don't know. I don't know. To me, it's just where suddenly all the TV people are all experts in it's I don't think it's a big thing. So that's it on the Olympic side of things. So now we've got the presidential election. I don't care whose side you vote for or whatever it is. That's up to you. This is going to be a big buzz. It is going to have some things. I do question whether or not some of the news this week with what happened last weekend might have affected some of the news coming out of they cancelled plans and stuff. But the presidential election is going to have an impact on viewership of news. Obviously, Disney has got ABC News, so they've got their own outlet. They are apparently one of the biggest ones in the US. I know CNN and Fox News, everyone's all going to be drumming up, and there will be more and more viewership. And obviously, as we get into November, then it will start ramping up. So there will be some things, and it will have an impact. But the audience is going to be shared around all over the different places on different networks and stuff, depending on what channels you like watching. So it will have an impact, definitely. But they've all got horses in the race on that one there. Right. Let's do some questions. Let's see what we've got here. Kelly says, what are some of your favorite memories of Bob Newhart? See, I'm going to be honest. I didn't actually know his name. I only really kind of recognized him from Elf. That was the only thing I kind of recognized him. I think some cameos in Big Bang Theory. So for me, it was just Elf's dad. That was kind of for me of my. I think a lot of the stuff, again, sometimes shows don't transfer over as well. So that's the one for me. Aaliyah says, I only see Disney keeping Doctor Who if it's part of a quid pro quo to keep Bluey. Yeah, that might be where you can have you have to have Doctor Who if you want Bluey. Okay, we'll have it. What else have you got? Barbara Charlie says, do you think that Disney Plus will add channels for ESPN and Hulu content? Yes, I think they will do. I think they will. I think it'll be all part of it. I think the ESPN channels are going to be a little bit more tricky. The Rescuers, yeah, I know he was in it, but I'll be honest, The Rescuers is not one of those movies that I watched as a kid. It was one of those Disney movies. I don't know if everybody else has this. Do you have some movies from when you were kids and stuff that were really popular, or maybe weren't, but from the Disney vault? Is there certain movies that you didn't like or didn't watch as much? Because I know there was definitely, for me, there's some movies that I watched over and over and over again. Jungle Book. There were Jungle Book. You had Aristocats. You had Robin Hood's. I'm trying to think of Bedknobs and Broomsticks, Pete's Dragon. There were certain ones that I would watch as a kid over and over again. But then there'll be some movies that I just didn't watch. Maybe we didn't rent them. Maybe they weren't shown on TV so much. But yeah, Rescuers was not one that I grew up with as a kid, even though it came out around that time. But also, I don't know, at the time, Disney movies were very much more focused, and it's that kind of thing. That's for girls and that's for boys. And generally, as a kid growing up, I had a younger brother, so we didn't really it was things like Little Mermaid and all the princess movies. I didn't watch until I was an adult because we just didn't watch it in our house. But so Rescuers was just one I didn't particularly watch so much. The one I think about says that at the moment, every Disney does get some negative publicity. There's no reason to pull Doctor Who. I love the season they had. I'm glad that you liked it. I'm glad. I enjoyed some of the episodes. There was some that I didn't think that were good. I thought the decision to do Space Babies first was an awful decision because that show was awful, and just down from that point on, it was hard to get people back into it, especially after the Church on Ruby Road, I thought was a really good special. That was really good, and then the Space Babies was awful. And I think that's the thing of, yeah, I think there is, I mean, literally at the minute, Disney could come out there and Bob Iger could come out and go like, what is this? And someone would have a problem with it, and there would be complaints. It would just be, I don't think they can win no matter what they do. It's like, I think that's the thing right now with Inside Out 2. It's doing really well. It's amazing. And like suddenly now everyone's like, we can't complain. You know, there's nothing, they can't do anything with Inside Out 2. There's nothing that's kind of, you know, there was some people trying to make some fuss over like toys about anxiety and stuff. Second biggest animated film of all time. You know, now it's like, yeah, that's a hit. We can't touch it now. Oh, has he just done that? Has he done it? Not that. Oh, he has. Okay. I'll be checking the news out. I'm not surprised. Okay. I know you wouldn't. Yeah, this is big. This is big news. So I totally understand. No, actually, to be honest, it does actually have a lot of impact on me. Even though I'm over here, because a lot of my audience is American and stuff, I generally try to. I've always been interested anyway. But the policies that are introduced in American stuff do impact me. I just obviously can't have a vote on it. But a lot of the stuff that's introduced and rules and changes and stuff do impact on us right around the world. So it has a lot of impact on it. Right. Bubba Trolling says, do you think Max will add AEW? I think they are in like final. I don't know. I don't know with AEW. I watched the clips on YouTube, but I don't really like the style of it all. There's something I don't like the bitterness about constantly like jabbing at WWE. I'm a WWE fan, been a WWE fan since the 1980s, since WrestleMania 1. But I love the fact that there's somewhere else, and I love the fact that the wrestlers are being able to gonna like have somewhere else to bounce off of WWE, that somewhere else for them to work, somewhere else for them to negotiate with, and just for wrestlers to have something else. I think it's really good for them to have competition. In the same way with Disney, Universal and Comcast are fantastic for us as Disney fans because they are pushing them to do better at the theme parks because of they're pushing them to be better at movies because of you've got like DreamWorks and stuff. All of this is competition really does help like bring out the best of them. AEW is going to be on. I think it's on Max. Yeah, I think that's what I've been hearing. Right. On that note, obviously, with a lot of news going on right now. I know people probably. I know not everyone cares, but it's going to be a big thing for this one here, and obviously, there's going to be a lot of stuff happening over this following week. So yeah, it's going to be crazy. But again, a big thank you to everyone for joining us here on the live stream. I'm just going to have a quick look here at the poll. 41% of you say you watch a lot of the Olympics. 28% say nothing, and a little bit of 28%. So kind of split. Right. So again, a big thank you to Film Watcher, the only one, Tinkerbell, Knoxwave, Keenan, Khaled, Barbara Trolling, Film Watcher. Aaliyah, thank you so much for your support, and I don't know if I've got everybody on this list. Just a big thank you, Mahmoud, Matt, big just thank you to everyone. I'll be back during the week, and I'll have new news updates, and yeah, thank you so much, and see you guys soon. Laters.